What if I told you that everything you've been taught about reality is only a sliver of the truth? That behind your forehead, beyond the veil of bone and brain, lies an ancient gateway, forgotten, veiled, and yet ever watchful, waiting to be opened. In every myth, every scripture, and every secret society, there exists a single, recurring symbol, the all-seeing eye. Not just a symbol of awareness, but a portal. A divine instrument embedded within you, crafted not by mere biological evolution, but by cosmic design itself. The ancient sages called it Ajna in Sanskrit, the Egyptians revered it as Ujjat, and esoteric circles have long known it as the Eye of Providence. Modern science names it the pineal gland, a tiny organ with a massive secret. But what if this wasn't just biology, but sacred technology? What if your third eye is not symbolic at all, but functional, an organic lens, dormant but waiting, capable of seeing beyond space and time? A gateway to dimensions where thoughts create form, where energy has color, and where consciousness is the only true currency. This is not just another spiritual video. This is an initiation, a remembering of what your soul has always known. A reactivation of the sacred sight that lies dormant in almost every human being. In the minutes ahead, you'll uncover why the third eye was revered by mystics and feared by rulers. Why its teachings were hidden in temples, encoded in sacred symbols, and preserved only for the initiated. And most importantly, you'll learn how to open it, not with vague affirmations or trendy crystals, but with ancient techniques and quantum-aligned rituals that truly awaken inner vision. We'll dive deep into hidden histories, from Egypt to India, and even the lost wisdom of Atlantis. We'll explore the unseen power of sound, light, breath, and intention. You'll be given practical methods to pierce the veil and ignite your spiritual sight, methods that can change how you perceive yourself, others, and the entire universe. But know this, once the eye opens, it cannot be closed. You may begin to see truths that are uncomfortable, even overwhelming. Because with vision comes clarity, and with clarity, responsibility. So take a deep breath. Still your thoughts. Because once this journey begins, there is no going back. Long before modern science caught wind of the pineal gland, ancient civilization spoke of a third eye, an inner gateway that offered not only perception beyond the senses, but communion with the divine. The knowledge of this eye wasn't speculative. It was sacred, revered, and closely guarded. In the temples of ancient Egypt, initiates of the mystery schools underwent years of preparation before they were even told of the Eye of Horus, symbolizing both spiritual sight and inner resurrection. The left eye represented lunar wisdom, intuitive and feminine, while the right eye embodied solar knowledge, analytical and masculine. Together, they reflected a balance of perception far beyond ordinary awareness, a merging of dualities through the awakening of the inner eye. In India, the Vedic sages knew this center as the Ajna chakra, the command center of consciousness. Yogis believed that when Kundalini, the dormant spiritual energy, rose through the spine and struck this chakra, a practitioner would pierce the illusion of Maya and glimpse the eternal self. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of the divine eye given to Arjuna by Krishna so he could witness the infinite form of the cosmos. This was not allegory, but a spiritual technology, one that bridged human perception with cosmic intelligence. Even further west, in the philosophies of Plato and the hermetic teachings of ancient Greece and Egypt, we find references to an inner light or noetic vision, a perception of truth unmediated by the senses. Plato's allegory of the cave describes a soul chained in darkness, mistaking shadows for reality, until it finally turns inward and sees the light for what it is. The eye of the soul, he said, must be trained to look upward, toward the divine, toward truth, toward what is eternal and unchanging. This eye, he implied, had been closed and most, dulled by distraction, corrupted by the illusion of matter. But this ancient wisdom was never meant for the masses. In nearly every culture, the activation of the third eye was reserved for the initiates, the few who had proven their readiness through purification, discipline, and reverence. The unworthy were warned that premature awakening could bring madness or destruction. Why? Because to see through the illusion is to undo the very fabric upon which ordinary life is stitched. To awaken the eye is to dissolve the ego, to stare into the abyss and recognize yourself as the abyss staring back. Throughout history, this sacred knowledge was either destroyed, hidden, or distorted. During the Inquisition, mystical sects and Gnostic schools were silenced. Sacred scrolls were burned, temples razed, and oral lineages fractured. In more recent centuries, science divorced itself from the soul, labeling the pineal gland as a vestigial relic, just a gland regulating melatonin and sleep. But even the father of modern philosophy, René Descartes, called it the seat of the soul, believing it to be the junction point between the material body and the immaterial spirit. Why would such a rational mind make such a mystical claim? Because he knew something we've forgotten, that true vision doesn't happen with the eyes, but with the soul. Today, we live in a time where distractions abound and inner silence is rare. The third eye remains closed in most, calcified by fear, dulled by conditioning, or buried beneath layers of ego and consumption. But the ancients left clues. Symbols etched in stone, myths encoded with truth, and teachings whispered through lineages that refuse to die. What you're about to learn is not new. It is the remembering of something ancient, something eternal, something that was always within you. The third eye is not a fantasy, not a metaphor, and not a trick of imagination. It is a gateway, waiting for you to return to it. Now that you understand where this sacred wisdom comes from, we can begin peeling back the veil. In the next section, we will explore how this mysterious organ actually works, and what happens when you start to truly see. To truly understand the third eye, you must first abandon the rigid framework of the five senses. The eyes show you only what reflects light. The ears register vibrations. The skin feels pressure and heat. But the third eye operates in a completely different realm. It perceives truth, not appearance. It does not observe, it knows. This inner eye, seated in the center of your brain within the pineal gland, is not just a metaphorical window to the soul, it is an antenna, a cosmic receiver capable of decoding the hidden frequencies of existence. The pineal gland, shaped like a pine cone, sits precisely between the two hemispheres of the brain. Interestingly, ancient cultures across the globe used the pine cone as a sacred symbol. You'll find it atop the staff of Osiris in Egypt, on ancient Assyrian carvings, and even gracing the grand courtyards of the Vatican. Why would civilizations, separated by oceans and centuries, all revere the same symbol? Because they knew. They knew that within this tiny gland lies the bridge between the physical and the metaphysical. Modern science confirms something remarkable. The pineal gland contains photoreceptor cells, cells typically found in the eyes. It reacts to light and darkness, regulates circadian rhythm, and influences your sleep-wake cycle. But beyond biology, it also plays a role in altered states of consciousness. In moments of deep meditation, intense emotion, or mystical ecstasy, something extraordinary happens. The pineal gland releases trace amounts of dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, a powerful molecule also referred to as the spirit molecule. This natural psychedelic is believed to facilitate dreams, near-death experiences, and spiritual visions. The shamans of the Amazon have long used plant medicines like ayahuasca to activate this chemical, believing it to be the key to entering other dimensions and communicating with higher intelligences. But you don't need plants to unlock this doorway. The human body is an alchemical temple, and your breath, your focus, your intention, they are the keys. The ancients knew this. They taught breathwork techniques, mudras, chants, and meditation practices not to calm the mind, but to ignite the inner fire and awaken the hidden senses. The yogis spoke of prana, life force energy, that could be moved and directed. When enough prana gathers at the Ajna chakra, the third eye pulses, opens, and you begin to see beyond illusion. But what exactly do you see when the eye opens? Not angels with trumpets or neon lights. No. The first vision is of yourself, your raw, unmasked self. The parts you hide. The truths you ignore. The subconscious shadows that shape your waking life. The third eye doesn't just reveal the cosmos. It reveals the code, your code. It shows you how your thoughts form your reality, how your beliefs sculpt your perception, and how every encounter is a mirror reflecting your inner world. Imagine walking through life blindfolded, bumping into walls, confused, reactive. Now imagine removing that blindfold. Suddenly, everything has pattern. Everything has purpose. The coincidences are no longer random, they are messages. The people you meet, the dreams you have, the numbers you see, everything starts to align. This is not magic, it's awareness. This is what the awakened eye grants, not superpowers, but super-perception. And yet, this perception brings with it a profound paradox. The more you see, the more you realize how little you truly understand. The more answers you uncover, the deeper the mysteries become. The third eye does not hand you truth, it invites you into a dialogue with it. It does not give you peace, it gives you clarity. And sometimes, clarity is the most unsettling gift of all. This is why the path of awakening is not for the faint-hearted. To see truly is to unsee the comforting lies. To awaken the third eye is to remember who you are beneath the masks, and to face what the world becomes when illusion is stripped away. But this is only the beginning. Now that we've peeled back the first veil, it's time to step into the deeper waters, where ancient paradoxes dwell and forgotten truths whisper in symbols. The third eye is not merely an organ of perception. It is an alchemical mirror, one that reflects both your divinity and your distortion. And herein lies the paradox. While many seek to open it to see more, what it reveals often unravels what you thought you knew. Let's begin with the idea of light. In spiritual circles, light is often spoken of as something good, something we move toward. But in the esoteric traditions, the third eye does not see light in the ordinary sense, it sees beyond light and shadow. It sees what is hidden behind opposites. The awakened third eye pierces the duality game entirely. It shows you that right and wrong, good and evil, success and failure, these are all masks worn by consciousness to play a game. It does not make these things meaningless. It simply strips away their control over you. In ancient Hermeticism, this was known as the law of polarity, that opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. The third eye awakens when you begin to transcend polarity. When you no longer see yourself as a victim or a hero, but as a conscious player in a larger design. When you realize you are both the storm and the stillness. Both the seeker and the answer. And yet, we must also address the deception. For not all inner vision is true vision. The esoteric teachings warn of the false light, illusions that come when one opens the third eye prematurely or without proper grounding. Some experience hallucinations, ego inflation, or psychic overwhelm. This is why ancient mystery schools placed so much emphasis on purification of body, mind, and heart. They taught that without emotional maturity, discernment, and humility, the inner eye could become a portal to delusion rather than liberation. You may have heard of the Eye of Lucifer, or the Eye on the Pyramid, symbols that have been both revered and feared. There is a reason for this duality. The third eye is power, and like all power, it reflects the intention of the one who wields it. Those who use it to dominate, manipulate, or control often fall into spiritual ego or energetic corruption. But those who approach it with reverence and devotion find that it becomes a compass, a living oracle guiding them home. In Tibetan Buddhism, practitioners speak of the clear light of awareness, a boundless, radiant state one accesses through deep meditation or at the moment of death. The third eye is the entry point to this light, but it requires the death of identity, the dissolution of the small self. This is why the eye is often associated with initiation. Not just into mystery schools, but into your own soul. And yet, this initiation is not external. No one gives it to you. There is no robe, no temple, no master required. The path opens the moment you choose to see without judgment. To feel without running. To listen without needing to explain. This is the silent teaching of the third eye, not to fill you with visions, but to empty you of illusion. There are also teachings that say the third eye connects us to a greater intelligence, a collective field of consciousness that mystics call the Akashic records, the Oversoul, or the Logos. When open, the third eye doesn't just grant personal insight, it taps you into the collective dreaming of humanity. You begin to feel timelines, sense the emotional climate of the planet, and even receive knowledge you have not learned in the traditional sense. This is not fantasy. This is pattern recognition on a spiritual level, one that bypasses logic and speaks in symbols, archetypes, and synchronicities. This is why so many who awaken the eye begin to experience recurring numbers, vivid dreams, strange coincidences, or a sense of being guided. These are not glitches in reality. They are echoes from the deeper dimensions of your mind, now awakened and alert. But let us be honest, awakening is not comfortable. It strips you bare. It demands that you let go of who you think you are to become who you were meant to be. The third eye is not here to entertain you with cosmic visions. It's here to dissolve your illusions. And that is sacred work. Now, as we approach the next phase of our journey, we move from understanding to embodiment. You've learned what the third eye is, where it came from, and what it reveals. But how do you activate it? How do you prepare the temple of your being for such a powerful awakening? Now that we've ventured through the mysteries and paradoxes of the third eye, the question arises, how do you awaken it? Not symbolically, not in theory, but in the sacred practice of everyday life. The activation of the third eye is not a single moment, but a journey. It requires dedication, subtlety, and deep inner stillness. It does not shout, it whispers. It doesn't open through force, it opens through alignment. First, you must understand that your body is the instrument, the temple, the sacred vehicle. If the third eye is the antenna, your body is the grounding wire. This is why ancient initiates began with purification. Cleanse the vessel, and the divine current flows with ease. Start with the basics. Reduce artificial toxins, fluoride, processed sugars, and overstimulation from digital devices. These cloud the mind, calcify the pineal gland, and clutter the frequency of your awareness. Drink pure water. Breathe consciously. Fast occasionally, not only from food, but from noise, social media, and distraction. In silence, the signal strengthens. One of the most powerful tools for awakening the third eye is breath. In yogic traditions, pranayama is the science of life force regulation through the breath. Techniques such as nadi shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, and kumbhaka, breath retention, help balance the hemispheres of the brain and stimulate the ajna chakra. As you breathe, visualize light, violet or indigo, filling the center of your forehead. Do this consistently, not just once or twice. The third eye responds to rhythm, to devotion, to intention repeated over time. Meditation is not just recommended, it is essential. But not passive sitting. You must go beyond calming the mind. Enter the stillness behind thought. Focus your awareness on the space between the eyebrows. At first, you may feel pressure, tingling, or warmth. These are signs that energy is gathering. Some see flashes of light. Others hear subtle tones or experience waves of emotion. This is the language of your awakening. Do not chase it. Allow it. The key is to remain present. The third eye opens not when you seek it, but when you surrender to it. Another forgotten but powerful method is sound. Certain frequencies, such as 936 Hz, are known to activate the pineal gland. Ancient chants like Om, Sham, or the seed syllables of the chakras create internal resonance, aligning your inner vibration with higher states of consciousness. Try humming Om slowly, letting the vibration echo in your skull. Sound is not just expression, it is calibration. Sacred mantras are ancient codes, vibrational keys designed to unlock dormant parts of your being. Light exposure also plays a role. Because the pineal gland is light sensitive, early morning sunlight helps regulate its function. Stand barefoot on the earth and let the first rays of the sun touch your face. Close your eyes and turn inward. Let your body attune to the solar rhythms. The ancient Egyptians practiced sun gazing during dawn and dusk, not to worship the sun, but to awaken the inner sun. Beyond the physical practices, there are internal disciplines. Cultivate inner honesty. The third eye sees through illusion, including the illusions you tell yourself. Begin to question your reactions, your beliefs, your fears. Journaling can be a potent mirror. Ask, what patterns do I repeat? What truths do I avoid? Self-inquiry is the inner lens that clears away fog from the eye. Then, there's the art of dream work. Keep a dream journal by your bedside. Your dreams are messages from the unconscious, training grounds for third eye sight. Before you sleep, place a drop of mugwort or blue lotus oil on your third eye area. Set an intention: I am open to inner vision. I am ready to receive. Over time, your dreams will become more vivid, symbolic, and instructive. Finally, practice stillness in motion. Bring awareness into the mundane. Wash dishes with presence. Walk with reverence. Eat in silence. When you anchor presence into the now, the third eye begins to hum. Awareness is cumulative. Every conscious act is a brick in the temple of awakening. But let us be clear, opening the third eye is not a race. You are not chasing an experience, you are becoming the experience. There will be days of clarity, and days of resistance. This is normal. Do not judge your progress. The third eye opens not in a burst, but like a flower, petal by petal, layer by layer. Trust the process. Trust yourself. When it begins to awaken, you'll notice subtle but profound changes. Intuition sharpens. Coincidences increase. You begin to sense people's emotions before they speak. You'll see synchronicities as signs rather than chance. You'll feel connected, not conceptually, but viscerally, to something greater. You'll begin to remember who you are, not the name, not the identity, but the eternal presence watching it all unfold. And as your inner sight sharpens, so does your responsibility. The third eye does not open so you can escape the world, but so you can see it clearly and serve it wisely. Awareness without action is illusion. So, live what you see. Embody what you remember. Now, with these tools in hand, you are no longer just a seeker. You are becoming the seer. You've now walked through the corridors of ancient wisdom, peered into the hidden dimensions of perception, and received the sacred keys to awaken a power that has lived quietly within you since the moment of your birth. The third eye is not a fantasy or a luxury of the spiritually elite, it is your birthright. It is the silent witness within, patiently waiting for your return. And now, with understanding, intention, and practice, you stand at the threshold of awakening not just sight, but vision, the kind that transcends form and penetrates truth. But understand this clearly, opening your third eye is not an escape from reality. It is a deeper immersion into it. While others see the surface of events, you begin to see the energetic roots beneath them. While others react to appearances, you respond to essence. The third eye strips away illusions, not just of the external world, but the internal ones. The masks you wear, the stories you tell, the identities you cling to, they begin to dissolve in the presence of inner truth. And yes, this can be unsettling. Revelation is not always gentle. But in that raw clarity, you begin to walk differently, to speak with intention, to live as if seen by something greater. Do not look for fireworks or fantastical visions. Look instead for the silence between your thoughts. The sudden stillness in a crowded room. the way time bends when you are fully present. These are signs that the I is stirring. You may begin to feel life speaking to you, in patterns, in symbols, in dreams that seem to echo across lifetimes. You are tuning into the deeper broadcast of reality, one that has always been playing, but was lost beneath the static of distraction. Remember, this awakening is not a single moment, but a path. You are not meant to sprint through it, you are meant to embody it. Each breath you take with awareness, each thought you examine with honesty, each act you perform with presence, it all strengthens the I, layer by layer, day by day. And while the world may continue to swirl in chaos and illusion, you will no longer be swept away by it. You will see. You will know. So, as we close this sacred transmission, I leave you with this. What if your entire life was a preparation for this very moment? What if every challenge, every longing, every whisper of something more, was your soul guiding you back to the eye that never stopped watching? Now, the question is no longer how to awaken the third eye. You already know. The question is, what will you do with what you see? If this message stirred something deep within you, if you felt resonance, remembrance, or a subtle call to explore further, don't let it fade. Share your experience. Reflect. Ask your questions. Leave a comment below and connect with fellow seekers on the path. And if you feel this message could awaken someone you love, share it. Because now, you are the lighthouse. And somewhere, someone is waiting to see the light through your eyes. The eye has opened. The path has begun. And this is only the beginning.